Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Saurabh Sir classes. And in this video, we are going to solve a paper that is your previous year paper 2024 pub date history. I'm giving you complete solution for every options which we face in our question. And if you like the video, just click on a like button and let me know in a comment section. Okay. So let's start your journey for 2025 admission in Presidency College. So let's begin with the question number. This is question number one. Which of the following pair is not correctly matched? Kalhan and Rastarangini, Ashoka and Buddhism, Kanishka 1 and Kalidasa, Dharampal 1 and Nalanda. Guys, this paper is not only for public. See, if we talk about history syllabus, maximum examinations occur in our India, the government examinations contain history syllabus similarly, ancient, medieval, and modern. So all section are more or less same. So this paper will help you in your other examination as well. So Kalhan and Rastarangini, Ashoka and Buddhism, Kanishka 1 and Kalidasa, Dharampala and Nalanda. All those four options are very important because many questions are connected with these options, whether it is Ashoka, whether Kanishka, Kalidasa, Dharampala. Every person is important here. So Kalhan is a writer or a poet. He has written a book Ras Tarangini, which is based on the history of Kashmir. So it is very very important. And here they're asking about not correctly matched, but this is matched. So this would not be answer. Ashoka and Buddhism. This is obvious that after Kalinga battle, Ashoka emerged Buddhism. So it is matched. Okay, it is not opposite each other. Now we talk about Dharampala and Nalanda. See, Dharampala, who was the Pala ruler, he made many university. He didn't make Nalanda, but he we can say that moderate someone who can make this university, who renovate this university. So somehow this is connected with that. But when we talk about Kanishka 1 and Kalidasa, so Kanishka 1 belongs to other period and Kalidasa is another period. So this is the huge difference between these two. Okay. Kalidasa belongs to Gupta time period and Kanishka 1 is Indo-Greek ruler. So this is not correctly matched. This is your answer. I hope you will clear everything. Okay. Kalhana, Ras Tarangiri, it is a Kashmir history. Okay, Kashmir history. Ashoka emerged Buddhism after Kalinga battle. Okay. I hope you know about Kalinga battle. Okay. The date of Kalinga battle you must know everyone. It was in 261 BC. Okay. Very, very important date. 261 BC. Ashoka attacked on Kalinga, but after some time he changed his mood or something happened that he emerged Buddhism. Okay. Dharampala, he was the very important ruler of Pala kingdom and he opened many university. I had some more questions we'll do about the Dharampala. Okay. Let's move with question number 2. That is excellent cave painting of Mesolithic age are found at. So Mesolithic age is important time period related with your lithic time period. It is a stone age period. Okay. So Atranji Kheda is not connected with the Mesolithic side. Okay. Mahishadal, Kalibangan, these are connected with your IVC. IVC is Harappan civilization, okay, Indus Valley civilization, and Atranji Kheda, where we got many tools, okay, ancient time periods tools. But in Bhimbetka, we got cave paintings. This is a rock shelter as a rock shelter also, where we found some paintings, okay. So these cave paintings is very important. Even they had got a UNESCO World Heritage Site, UNESCO trademark. Okay, and this is oldest known rock art we can say, where features so many rock art painting with depicts on animals, humans, and abstract design as well. So this is very important, guys. So right answer will be Bhimbetka. Okay, let's move on with the third question. That is, which of the following is not one of the three jewels of Buddhism? What are the three jewels of Buddhism? The three jewels of Buddhism are Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Now, what happened here? They have given option Dhamma. Dhamma is which is started by Ashoka. Okay, it is not the three jewels of Buddhism. So the right answer will be they are asking about not one of the three jewels of Buddhism. So Dhamma was not connected with three jewels. Okay, let's move on. Question number 4. Arrange the following Magadha dynasty in the chronological order. So if you attend any of my class, I always told you that chronology is always a important thing, and many examiner ask about whether it's a Mauryan ruler or a Gupta rulers. Now they ask about the Magadha dynasty. Okay, I have already mentioned about Magadha dynasty in my crash course, even in the classes also, which are regular classes. So, the first of the dynasty is Haryanka. In Haryanka dynasty, you will have Bimbisara, and Ajashatru and Udyan. The three important rulers connected with Haryanka dynasty. After Haryanka, next ruler are Shishunaga. So I'm giving you the date also. Haryanka dynasty time period is almost 544 BC to 413 BC approx. Okay, I mentioned here so that you can check the exact time. 544 BC to 413 BC. Okay, let's move on next. Shishunaga time period, that is 415 BC to or 13. So there is clash about these two. Okay, I'm giving you the date so that you can check what is the correct chronology of these dynasties in Magadha. 413 BCE to 344 BC. So these are important dates. You just write down in your notebook as well. And the third one is Nanda dynasty. That is 343 to 321 BC. Okay. In Nanda rulers, you will talk about Dhanananda, Mahapadmananda. These are important ruler. Okay. And Shushunaga, there's almost I'm not saying that is a very popular, but still Shishunag is important dynasty over that period. Now we talk about Maurya. It's 322 BCE to 185 BC. So all these four times are important. Okay. I'll talk about these rulers earlier also, but next questions is also based on these rulers. So we'll talk about these dynasty later. But the tenure is important, so I'm mentioning the tenure here. Now it's easy to calculate which dynasty came first. So Haryanka came first. So 4 is here. There are two options for this. 4, then next one is Shishunaga. So 4, 2, and next one is Maurya Nanda. So this is the right answer. Okay. First of all, Haryanka, then Shishunaga, then Nanda, and then Maurya. Okay. Next question is, why did Megasthenes divide Indian society into 7 classes instead of usual 4? So I hope you know about Megasthenes. It's an ambassador sent by Seleucus Nicator, and he came during the tenure of Chandragupta. Okay, very important Chandragupta Maurya ruler, because after Sikandar returned to that area, so he died during the way. So he sent his governor to take over control over the winning area of India. So Seleucus Nicator was one of them. Okay. But Chandragupta Maurya defeated Seleucus Nicator and then married his daughter. Okay. After that, they had some matrimonial alliances. Due to these alliances, he sent his ambassador in the court of Chandragupta. So Megasthenes was the ambassador. Okay. And he has written a book that is Indica, which is really popular still. Indica is very informative book, and In this book, he mentioned about 7 classes. Okay, he didn't mention about the 4 classes, that is Brahman, Kshatriya, Shudra, and Vaishya, but he talked about 7 classes in the India. Why he is saying so? Because there was proliferations of caste? No. Megasthenes included outcast? No. He was confused? Not at all. He was not confused. He was staying many years in India at that moment. So he was not confused. But yes, he divided society into main occupational group. He didn't divide the society based on religion, but he divided the society as per the occupational groups. Okay. So this is the answer. Let's move on the question number 6. Who was the founder of Kanva dynasty? Kanva dynasty is important dynasty. And who was the founder? Susarman, Vishnuvarma, Vasumitra, or Vasudeva? The right answer is Vasudeva. And this dynasty came during 73 BC. Okay. So Kanva dynasty is also called Kanvayans, and this dynasty is important. They belongs to Patliputra as a capital. Okay. And they were defeated by the Satvahana. It is important point. Defeated by the Satvahana. Satvana is very important dynasty. Okay. And you must know about the founder of Satvana because this is a favorite question of examiner. So Satvana's founder or the important king of Satvana is Simuka. Simuka. Let's move on. Question number 7. Which of the following monasteries was not founded by the Pala king? Yes, I told you na. Pala kingdom is very important when you are preparing for this examination. So, Vikramshila, Udantapuri, Nalanda, Somapura, all are very important. And Nalanda is that university which is not made by Pala king because it is made by Kumar Gupta. Okay, Kumar Gupta, important ruler Kumar Gupta, and Dharampala renovate this university. But Vikramshila, Udantapuri, Sompura is very important. Vikramshila and Sompura both are maintained or founded by Dharampala. Dharampala. Okay. And Udantapuri is the first university made by Gopala, who was the founder of Pala dynasty. Okay. Very important ruler Gopala. First time ruler selected by the common people. Okay. So we can say that was a first election in India at that time. So next question is the General Assembly consisting of tax-paying residents of ordinary Chola villages was known. This is very, I would say, regular questions asked by the examiners about the Chola village because Chola administration is based on a ruler. They are not urban kind of dynasty, so they based on a ruler kind of. So the tax-paying resident of ordinary assembly is Ur. Okay. Sabha, Nagaram, Kurram is also an important part of the administration, but they are asking about the General Assembly, which is connected with tax-paying residents. So that is Ur. Okay. Let's move on with the next question. That is question number 9. What is Aragata? Aragata basically is a tool. Okay. And that is used for the irrigation. So it is a Persian wheel of irrigation. It's also a regular question asked in many examination, whether it's a set or a PG history or history PhD entrance examination. This question is like a favorite question for examiner. Let's move on the next question. That is Aparajit Pracha was written by whom? Aparajit Pracha is an important text and all these writers are important. Dandin, Bhuvandeva, Hemchandra and Boj. So they have written many texts. Basically, book contain architecture's material, architecture text. So that is written by Bhuvandeva. Bhuvandeva was very important during the 12th century period, and it is a Sanskrit text that cover all type of architecture, Vastu Shastra, and everything which we right now we are using that that building is concerned about the Vastu Shastra or not. So Bhuvandeva written this book. This is very important text, Parajit Pracha, and this is also edited by later, okay, in state engineers as well. So next, Dandin, Hemachandra, Boj, all are important. Just let me know the important books are written by Dandin, Hemachandra and Boj in the comment section so that I can see that you are preparing for this examination or not. Okay. That term segmentary state is associated with what? What do you mean by segmentary state? Okay. So first, let me know who is associated with this word. Burtonstein, Karl Marx, Ram Sharan Sharma, or Harbans Mukhia. If I say in simple words, segmentary means what? It divided into segments or different part. So basically, it is given by Burtonstein. Okay, Burtonstein. It's an important character, and he has given this segmentary state model. He want to actually explain the polity of Vijayanagar Empire and Chola. So he argued that Chola state was a segmentary state. Okay. Okay. So I hope it's clear. Okay. Next question is, what does the term Vishti stand for? It is also a regular question, I would say that. So Vishti is like province, district, forced labor, or what? It is a basically forced labor. Okay, Vishti. It's a regular question, so this not much for explain. Who wrote Fatwa e Jahandari? Fatwa e Jahandari is written by whom? Ziauddin Burni, Amir Khusro, Minhaj us Siraz, or none of the above. So it is very important text. This book is written by Ziauddin Burni, and in this book they mention about the duties of the king, the important work which have to be for administration, which have to be used in that by the ruler. So Ziauddin Burni was the right answer, and he mentioned about the book that how the state was based on a state law and how the rule were based. So everything is important. Okay. Amir Khusro, Minhas Ussiraz is also important. They have written so many important texts. So I would mention about these. Okay, but not this time because as you know, there are so many questions. So next question is, who among the following Sultan represented himself as Sikandar Sani? It's also a common question. Sikandar Sani, that is the second Alexander. Balban, Iltutmish, Alauddin Khilji, or Kutubuddin Aibak. The right answer is Alauddin Khilji because he want to conquer entire world. So he represent himself as a second Alexander. Actually, Alauddin Khilji have done many military campaign against the Gujarat, Ranthambore. Okay, so many war he had done. Gujarat, Ranthambore, then Chittor, that Padmavati story connected with this. Okay, Chittor and Devagiri, then Warangal. So many areas. So last moment he could conquer all the India. So that's why writers used to use this word that he's a Sikandar Sani, it's a second Alexander because he represent himself like that. Okay. Amir Khusro also written about him in his book. So I told you now, I'll tell you about the Amir Khusro is also very important poet. He written about Alauddin Khilji in the book Khizai. Okay. Khizai. Okay, let me write over here because the space is needed here. Just a second. The important text, that's why I'm writing here. Amir Khusro write about him is Khazai ul Futu. It's an important text, so just write down this. Okay. Next question is question number 15. That is, who founded the city of Agra? Alauddin Khilji, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, Sikandar Lodi, or Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Very important. City of Agra was founded by Sikandar Lodi. He belongs to Lodi dynasty and very important ruler. He was sultan between the time period of 1489, okay, 1489 to 1517. So he is important, and when he died, so after him, Lodi dynasty was decline actually. So he is the founder of this dynasty as well. Important person and connected with so many things, so many administrative reforms and many achievements is connected with Sikandar Lodi. Okay. Next question is, who was the first Portuguese governor in India? Even the last class which I had taken for modern India, I have given all the important Portuguese governor name over there. So Vasco da Gama, Martin Alfonso, Francisco de Almeida, or none of the above. So if you take on Vasco da Gama, so I'm going to tell you that he was not a governor actually. Okay? He came in India as a tourist, as a trader. So he was not a Portuguese governor. But after the settlement, after the Portuguese administration settlement, then next important person came as a Portuguese governor, and he was the first Portuguese governor, and that is Francisco de Almeida. Okay, very important, Francisco de Almeida. He was uh, sent by the Portuguese administration, an important person as well, and he sent during the tenure of 1505 CE, much more earlier than British East India Company. British East India Company came during 1600 after time, but they came in 1505 as a administration uh, government. I would say that. Okay, let's move on. The question number 17. Acha, this is the part one, okay? I'm going to give entire paper in the part second also. So I think a big video is not helpful. So maybe that's why I'm giving you the part one and part two, or maybe a part three. Who was given the title of Sultan-e-Azam by the Caliph of Baghdad? So it's very interesting story. Sultan-e-Azam by the Caliph of Baghdad. Qutbuddin Aibak, Iltutmish, Razia, or Ruknuddin Firoz Shah. Razia and Ruknuddin Firoz Shah both are siblings and they belongs to Iltutmish. Razia is the daughter of Iltutmish and Ruknuddin Firoz Shah is son of Iltutmish. So they are siblings as well. So who is Qutbuddin Aibak? Qutbuddin Aibak was the person who came during the Turkic invasion, okay, with the Ghurid emperor, that is Muhammad Ghori actually. So the time period, it's not very important, but you should know about Qutbuddin Aibak as well. He died within 4 years when he took control over India. Okay, so 1206 he settled down in India, and 1210 he died. Okay, so we have less time. So Qutbuddin Aibak is famous person because he was the first Sultanate ruler in northern India, so that's why he is famous. So Iltutmish is the next ruler after Qutbuddin Aibak, and he was gained the title of Sultan-e-Azam. Why he so? Because they are connected with the slave dynasty. Basically, Qutbuddin Aibak was the slave of Muhammad Ghori, so Iltutmish wants to become a sultan, so he needs permission from a Caliph of Baghdad, and they are follower of Caliph of Baghdad. Basically, that's why he got a title for Sultan-e-Azam. So right answer would be Sultan Iltutmish. Okay. Next question is, who was called a Tut-e-Hind? Tut-e-Hind or a parrot of India? This is the same question. Okay, parrot of India. The Tut-e-Hind is a word in Urdu, and the English conversion is parrot of India. So what is the right answer? Amir Khusro, Nizamuddin Aulia, Kutubuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki, or Tansen? The right answer is Amir Khusro, because he knows many languages. He's written so many books, and he has, uh, I think, written many rulers. The important story of rulers, the uh, discoveries or many dynasties. So he has mentioned about entire, slave dynasty. Then other dynasty, he has written about Delhi Sultanate, the entire Delhi Sultanate actually. So that's why they called him Tutei Hind, because he has written about Indian history. Maybe he has given us so many information related to Indian history or a Delhi Sultanate. That's why. Okay. So Tutei Hind, what are the important books of Amir Khusro is? He is also considered father of Qawwali as well. He has written so many books, but some texts are important. For example, Kiran e Sadai is important. Okay, Kiran e Sadai. Then Mufta ul Futu is important. Mufta ul Futu is important. Okay. Then Kurate ul Kamal Khazan ul Futu is also important. I have just told you that he has written this book for Alauddin Khilji. So Khamsa Khusro, Sakina is important. Okay, Sakina or Sakiana, and Dhubal Rani is also important. Dhubal Rani, and many more. Okay, Nusifir or Bakia Nakia. There are so many books he has written about, and he is very popular. He has even founder of many classical things. For example, tabla and the sitar, Qawwali. He's a Sufi singer as well. So he's a popular person. That's why he's a voice of India or a Tute-e-Hind or a parrot of India. Okay. Next question is the Maratha claim of revenue for protection is called Chauth, Sardeshmukhi, Abwab, Jama. Now, students may confused about the Chauth and Sardeshmukhi. What are the difference between these two? It's important. So, Chauth is basically one fourth, okay, one fourth amount of tax, and Sardeshmukhi is 1/10 part. So, what are the major difference between these two? Chauth is a tax like it's taken one fourth of the total revenue basically, and what it is taken about are the protection money. So right answer is Chauth, okay, protection money. The tax levied on a lands basically that were nominal under Mughal rule, okay. And what is Sardeshmukhi? It's like a tribute money, okay, tribute to the king, okay. So that's the additional 10%, which is on chat. So it's levy based assessed on addition of chauth. We can say that the tax on land or which Maratha claim hereditary right or tax which is area outside of the kingdom. So this is like a Sardeshmukhi extra pay after chauth. So they asking about the revenue for protection. One fourth protection is chauth, which is the right answer. Okay. So, question number 20 is your homework question. Which famous historian came to India with Mahmud of Ghazni? I had just told you about Kutubuddin Aibak. He came with Muhammad Ghori, but he was not a historian. Okay. Now they're asking about a famous historian came with Mahmud of Ghazni. Who came first, Mahmud of Ghazni or Muhammad Ghori? So Mahmud Ghazni came first. Okay. So Farishta, Al Baruni, Afif, or Ibn Battuta. What is the right answer? So this is your homework question. Just let me know the answer in a comment section. And in next video, we'll talk about the question started with question number 21. Okay. So I hope you like the video. If you like the video, just click on a like button. Or if you want this video in Hindi language also, so I will definitely convert it to that language.